After many struggles on the offensive side of the ball this season, Arthur Smith, Mike Tomlin, and Russell Wilson came in with a hell of a plan against the Cincinnati Bengals, winning 44-38. And honestly, guys, if you watch the game, it really wasn't all that close, as the score would suggest. The Steelers were up 3 scores in the fourth quarter. Russell Wilson played out of his freaking mind. And shout out to Arthur Smith for really taking a look at himself and self-scouting during the mini bye week to really put together one hell of an offensive game plan today. We're going to be reacting to this amazing game for the Pittsburgh Steelers here, scoring 44 points, which, by the way, is more than any other team in the National Football League in any game this year. So the Steelers offense just put up an offensive performance we haven't seen from anybody in this league so far this year. Type those W's for me down there in the comments section. Spam those W's for me if you want to celebrate the win here for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Week 13. Okay, so let's talk about this game here. The Steelers win this one 44-38, and, it looked like early a kind of a botched, missed DPI call was going to kind of put the Steelers behind the 8 ball. I think it was Cam Taylor-Britt ripped George Pickens' helmet down on a slant route, and then Britt caught the football, took it to the house. And, there's certain points in this game where I'm like, man, that 7 points is looming pretty large. But honestly, guys, the Steelers really took care of business today. You take away that 7 points and you take away that final touchdown that was kind of not ticky-tacky, but kind of last-minute garbage timey for the Bengals. I mean, they take away those 14 points. This is an absolute domination by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple of injury reports here, actually just one. Calvin Austin III left the game with a concussion. He took 2 really nasty hits in this ball game. Really hope he's okay. And I would probably say his chances of playing next week against the Browns are not fantastic. It's not usually easy to come off a concussion and play the next week in the National Football League. So guys like Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, and the tight ends that stepped up today, and the running backs who really stepped up in the passing game today need to be available and need to do what they did today against the Browns if you want to get a win at home next weekend. So my game balls here. Start with Russell Wilson. Hell of a performance from QB1. I think that Russell Wilson really proved a lot of doubters wrong today. Even coming into this week, I had people in my DMs and in my replies saying, Jack, the Steelers can't bring back Russell Wilson next year. He stinks. Well, guess what, man? I know the Bengals defense sucks. That's granted. I know they didn't have their green dot in Logan Wilson. But, man, he put up the second most passing yards this guy has ever put up in his career. All right, this used to be a perennial MVP candidate in this league. He just put up his second best performance of his career in terms of yards, had 3 touchdowns, including one to really put the game away, off schedule, off platform, sidearm dart to Pat Freiermuth for 6, and a huge, I believe it was on 3rd down too. So Russell Wilson playing out of his mind. He beat you short. He took what the defense gave to him. He hit intermediate routes over the middle of the field as well. He did a really good job hitting the seam routes throughout the game today. And then he threw the ball deep from time to time as well with that moon ball, being perfectly placed to George Pickens and others throughout the day. Over 76% completion percentage, over 400 yards, and the one mistake, interception, was on kind of a bullshit defensive pass interference. Let's call it what it is. So Russell Wilson, hell of a game. He gets my first game ball. Second game ball, Cam Heyward. Holy cow, this guy's had some great games this year. He really dominated today, man. He really did. He deflected the ball that led to the Donte Jackson interception today. He got in the backfield consistently versus kind of a lackluster Bengals offensive line. And he was great in the run game, too. He had a great stop along the goal line. They had the ball at the 1, and he absolutely stuffed Chase Brown at the 4. I mean, he's playing all-pro caliber football right now. He's a first-team all-pro caliber player. He is that good, and thank God the Steelers gave him the extension they gave him at the time they did, because if they didn't, they'd have to pay him a massive contract with the way that he's playing right now. Another defensive player that deserves a game ball, in my opinion, T.J. Watt. You could probably also put Nick Herbig in this category. Once again, Herbig had a big-time strip sack fumble. This time it was picked up by Peyton Wilson for the touchdown to make it, I believe it made it 17 points at that point, Coop. So fantastic stuff there from Nick Herbig as well, so he gets a shout-out. But T.J. Watt had that strip sack in the first half when the defense wasn't really playing well. He also had a big sack, or I think it was a sack. Yeah, I think it was a sack in the second half as well. So, he hasn't had the best production as of late, but today it came back. Big-time bounce-back performance from T.J. Watt. So let me know down there in the comments section, who is the MVP of this football game today? For me personally, I don't know how you pick anyone other than Russell Wilson, but let me know down there in the comments section who is the MVP of this football game. Donte Jackson gets my 4th game ball here because Joey Porter Jr. didn't have a great game against T. Higgins, had multiple holding penalties, multiple DPIs, gave up some yards today. But Donte Jackson held Jamar Chase to not that many yards, guys. I'm looking at it right now. Jamar Chase had 86 yards, and a lot of that came towards the end, all right? For most of this game, he was held to like 46 yards, and Donte Jackson was the guy on him for almost the entire game, because what the Steelers wanted is they wanted the bigger JPJ on the bigger T. Higgins, and then they tasked Donte Jackson, their number 2 corner, with guarding Jamar Chase, and I thought he did a pretty dang good job against a top 3 receiver in football today, so big shout out to Donte Jackson, plus he got a nice interception today. Then the final game ball, I'm going to give it to Arthur Smith, the OC. And you guys know, man, I have not been particularly favoring of Arthur Smith the last couple of weeks in his game plans. I thought he was getting predictable on early downs. I thought that his personnel usage was getting really bad after the trade of Mike Williams. And, you know, kudos to him. He got into a room, he self-scouted, and he said, okay, what is this team doing well right now? Well, we're doing a really good job when Russell Wilson throws short to a running back with blockers in front of him. So what did he tell Russ? Hey, when the defense is giving you opportunities to take your check down, throw it to your freaking check down and let your playmakers make plays. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, all these guys. Muth, who got 6 catches today. Great game plan from Arthur Smith. It attacked the entire, every single blade of grass on the defensive field for them. And, you know, you look at the receiving, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people had receptions today. 9 of them had over 20 yards, so Russell Wilson was distributing it. The Bengals had no idea where the ball was going, and Arthur Smith really put together a masterful game plan here to get this team to 44 points, despite Calvin Austin third for most of it, by the way. So coming up here on the Steelers Talk postgame show, more takeaways for Steelers versus Bengals here. We'll talk about the big picture here, what this means for the Steelers moving forward, and heading into Browns week here in week 14. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action this football season. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Also, Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more money or value for your lineups. You guys can see here, T. Higgins, give me 3 more yards, man. That's why you bet that's why you go the less on opposing teams. Russell Wilson did his job. George Pickens did his job. T. Higgins didn't. So unfortunately, I'm not walking away with any money with our friends at Prize Picks. But you could today, before they start on Sunday Night Football, Bills versus 49ers. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you use code CLNS. It's right down there in the bottom of your screen after playing your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. First takeaway here is they had to overcome the refs a little bit. All right, now they did get a little bit of a break where they called a false start on what should have been a neutral zone infraction on the Steelers towards the end of the first half. But that really didn't make as much of an impact as some of the calls the Bengals were getting in this game. Obviously, the non-DPI call leading to a pick six. There's multiple, I thought, were ticky-tack fouls on Joey Porter Jr. today. And, you know, just time and time again, it seemed like this officiating crew wanted this game to be as close as it possibly could be. And the Steelers overcame that beautifully today, putting up 44 points. I mean, it was too big to rig for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Week 13. Second takeaway, Russ was freaking cooking. What was my key to victory this week, guys? Let Russ cook. All right, and what'd they do? They let him cook. They actually listened to Jack Sperry here, and look what happened, man. Russ put together his best performance as a Steeler, one of the best of his career. And if we get this Russell Wilson for the rest of the season, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not just Super Bowl contenders, which is what they've been here all season with Russell Wilson at quarterback. They might be in the category of Super Bowl favorites if he continues to put up numbers like this. Now, is he going to put up numbers like this every week? I don't think so, all right? I think that this is going to be the outlier game. It's against a bad defense. But does this show that Russell Wilson is absolutely a good quarterback that is doing good things for this Steelers team? And with the loaded roster the Steelers have, can they win a Super Bowl with him at quarterback? 100%. Russell Wilson was phenomenal today, so big shout out to him. Third takeaway, I'm not panicking about the defense. Now, I know a lot of people that didn't watch the game are going to have the narrative, oh, they gave up 38 points. They only beat them by 6 points. Steelers aren't that good. But guess what, man? Like the things that we've talked about, the missed DPI call, the last kind of garbage time touchdown. The Steelers absolutely put belt to ass for most of this football game, guys, and the defense did their part in that by getting 3 turnovers. That's the 3rd straight game now. This Steelers defense has gotten 3 turnovers. All right, this team is just getting going defensively, and most games when you're not playing one of the best passing attacks and quarterbacks in football, Joe Burrow had a pretty nice game today, by the way. When you're not playing teams like that, this team and this defense consistently keep teams to under 20 points, all right, and I expect that to continue moving forward. So even though you give up 38 points today, I'm not panicking about the defense, but Joey Porter Jr., I think, does need to play a little bit better. All right, then my final takeaway here is, what are they going to say now, folks? I mean, all I've been hearing the last few weeks is the Steelers' offense isn't good enough to win a Super Bowl. But guess what? They just scored more points in a single game than any team in the National Football League this year. Is that right, or has the Lions gotten to 50? Lions got 50. So, I mean, anybody in the AFC for sure. I mean, goodness gracious, this is a team that absolutely lit up the scoreboard today. Russell Wilson was doing a great job. Now, do I expect them to score 40-plus every week? No. But to say they're a bad offense and they do this, I just think it's completely asinine. This is a good, maybe middle-of-the-pack Steelers offense that may be slightly above average overall. And then they've got an elite defense that's championship caliber, and their special teams is great, and they're well coached. This team is complete here in Pittsburgh. They are absolutely a Super Bowl contender, and if they continue to play this way on offense, they're well on their way to becoming Super Bowl favorites here in 2024. So Red Pen time, grade the Steelers' performance today against the Cincinnati Bengals, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to give them an A-. It wasn't perfect, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but I thought the offense played really, really well. Probably an A+ performance from the offense. By the way, hey, Justin Fields got in and iced the game for the Steelers. I mean, just a complete team win here for Pittsburgh. It's hard to give it anything less than an A-. So I'm going to go A- here, and I'm very excited heading into Browns week, folks. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're going to have extensive Browns week coverage next week here. We're going live tomorrow. Me and Coop will tell you about my takeaways from this game once I watch the film, and then we'll also preview next week's game against the Browns in a rematch of Thursday Night Football from 2 weeks ago. And by the way, guys, I can't wait to get on a field with that football team again, this time on our home turf in Week 14. If you're with me, click that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.